Good morning and welcome to Herb Oracle Podcast, botanical divination with herbs, essences, flowers, and trees with your host, Herbal Marie. Let's start the day off pulling some oracle cards and getting a few messages. We can shoot the shiitake in a spiritual way-ish. And if you follow me on Instagram, I'll post a pic of the cards at Herb Oracle. Thanks so much for joining me. Here we go. Good morning. It is 6:20 in the a.m. Dang, and I've been up for probably about an hour. So that's pretty good. Maybe I'm getting back on my morning track, my morning routine, or maybe I had to get up early because the dog ran after a deer, and it went a whole mile down the road. So that's how my morning started off, trekking through the wet grass, looking for a dog who thinks it's her responsibility to chase anything and everything out of the yard. Yesterday, she killed a baby bunny. I mean, it's like, okay. So today's episode 41. That's pretty exciting for me because I'm 41, and we're also doing the 17th law, the universal law that we've been going on, and 17 is a pretty significant number for me, so should be an interesting podcast for myself. We'll talk about the law that we did yesterday, and then we'll pull a couple oracle cards, and then I hope we'll have ourselves a rejuvenating weekend because good Lord, it's been a hell of a week. Emotionally, just so drained. I was so low yesterday for the podcast. I'm feeling, I guess, better today because, our natural tendency is joy. It really is. Our natural tendency is to want to be happy, to want to feel better. So a lot of the low days, you can just kind of count on them to only be temporary. For most people, low days are just temporary. If the low day lasts into weeks, into months, you got to address that because, that's either some sort of a depression or a chemical imbalance because really, you don't have to be like happy, ridiculously happy all the time, but, a feeling of okayness should return eventually, right? That's just the cycle of it. So yesterday we did the law of cyclic return, which was the wheel of incarnation. And that didn't help my low day at all. Because it was like, oh God, this is why we have to keep on coming back here because we don't learn our lessons, we don't learn how to be happy, and we don't follow through on our forgiveness. And so, that was yesterday about how the soul incarnates, but the incarnation it must be completed. And I wrote down, if not, you will come back in a different body to reincarnate because all karma must be cleared. Forgiveness and soul growth accomplished before the entire episode of reincarnational growth is considered finished. So what kind of karma are you still playing out in your life? It's good to know. It's good to be aware of it because it's like, wow, these are the things that we need to wrap up. So anyways, it's a much brighter outlook of a day weather-wise, and I'm not sure where my life is, but I do know that, my guides are standing close and reminding me that I need to maintain, protect, and shield my energy, work with my crystals, and joy needs to be the target that I am aiming for every day, regardless. Regardless. So, there's still a lot of low vibe stuff going on. Nothing has really been resolved. with my marital bullshit. course, you know that if that's how I describe it. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to taking Saturday and Sunday off, getting some work done, going to a job, making a little cash, getting a little groceries, and yeah, hopefully a miracle happens around here. So today it's a big old paragraph for number 17. It's the law or right to decree. And then in parentheses it says divine invocation. So I'll just read it to you, and then we'll see where it goes. And yeah, 17, we're well on our way, guys. We're going to hit 105 before you know it. All right, so the law or right to decree, divine invocation. This particular law exists for those working in service to others. So in service to others, I'm in service to others, right? Like you'll know if you're in service to others or still service to self. But I'm guessing that if you're listening to this podcast, you're probably in service to others. Of course, I can't guarantee that, but I'll just read this. All right, I'll just shut up and read. This particular law exists for those working in service to others. Self-serving beings will find this law ineffective. This law allows the ascended realms to move from the confines of the law of non-intervention to act on our behalf. Add the phrase to your decree. Under the law of grace, as this is an out clause which will not allow us to manifest or invoke anything which would be detrimental to our existence or not of the highest interest for all and remain karmic free. So, under the law of grace, in order for your decree to work, it must be invoked 3 times. So, an example might be, by divine decree, in the name of, and now in parentheses it says Yahweh, God, Jesus, ascended masters, healing angels, Mother Mary, my I am self, etc. So, who you want to go with? Mother Mary? Okay, here's an example. By divine decree, in the name of Mother Mary, and under the law of grace, I ask for blank. It is done, and I thank you. So you have to fill in the blank, and you have to say the entire request 3 times. Then let it go. Trust it is in higher hands. So, yeah, I mean, I guess you have to, 1, go within your belief systems. Like, if you've never called on Mother Mary before, you don't believe in angels, like none of that other stuff resonates, you'll have to find something that goes with you. But I would say if that's the case, then go with my I am self, like your higher self. You could call on your higher self or just your I am presence, your I am self. Or you could just call on the spirit of the universe or all that is, But I guess whoever you want to call on, you could call on the fairy realm. I mean, whatever you're comfortable with, or whoever you feel could help you the most. So, like, I called on Archangel Michael the other day for my husband because I feel like he is out of my hands. Like, I can't reach him anymore. I can't help him. He won't take any of my herbal suggestions for pain. Although we're trying to work on something else with that. But, like, I just want him to feel better, right? I just want him to not be in pain and be happy. And so I called on Archangel Michael, like, please help him. But let's do it pro now. So, and I'm going to repeat it 3 times. And, hey, if you could throw some good vibes, my way and my husband's way too, because how much more misery can one person handle? I just really am concerned. So, by divine decree, in the name of Archangel Michael and under the law of grace, I ask for help for my husband. It is done, and I thank you. By divine decree, in the name of Archangel Michael and under the law of grace, I ask for help for my husband. It is done, and I thank you. By divine decree, in the name of Archangel Michael and under the law of grace, I ask for help for my husband. It is done, and I thank you. So now that I've said it 3 times, I just need to let it go, like for real, like let it go, and trust it is in higher hands, because that's the only hands it's gonna be able to go to now. Like, I really am feeling so frustrated. Like, of course it's frustrating, like when things are confusing, but it's also frustrating when, like, you want someone to feel better, you want to help them, but they don't even want to help themselves at this point, and or be open or try to be positive. And everything's definitely just the same as it ever was. So anyways, what are your intentions for this Friday? Mine really is, like this said, to let it go, let everything go. Just, it's like you have kids, you have family, you have friends. You gotta know at some point that everybody has their own guidance system. Everybody has access to their guides. They can call on them. They're available if they want them. You can do your part by utilizing the law to decree, or the right to divine invocation. You can pray for people. You can send good vibes. You can send the light. You can send love. But at some point, you have to let it go. And just know and trust and have some faith that it is in higher hands. So I like this one. I love number 17. That is really awesome. That, it's coming in from my 41st podcast. I like the numbers. I like how they add up. Numerology, it feels pretty good. So yeah, the law or right to decree. I'm going to use it. Yeah, I'll probably use the law of divine invocation. I'll probably call it divine invocation. I don't know, decree, it doesn't resonate as much as divine invocation. And it's in parentheses, so I feel like I'm allowed to use it. Okay, so I feel like the most perfect deck for us to pull from today is The Power of Flowers by Isha Lerner. It's an archetypal journey through nature, through flower essences, and each of these cards has an archetype that we could call upon. They're all in the higher realms, and this is what we could, under the law of grace and under the law of decree or divine intervention, we could call on any of these archetypes to assist us. And so I thought, let's do this. It was either that or Doreen Virtue's Ascended Master deck. And I did pull a couple cards for that for myself. But hello, this is the Herb Oracle. So I try to keep all the decks that I use herby, nature, flowers, plants, trees. But between you and me, I feel like I want a new deck, which is so gluttonous of me. But I saw this new, I think it's called the Herb Crafters Tarot. And I thought, I want that. Like, it would be fun, a little new fun toy in my life. I love broader perspective. The cards looked cool AF. And yeah, it would give a little new blood to this podcast. I mean, I have done 41 episodes. When am I going to get a new deck? Yeah, it's hard to justify buying new decks when, yeah, like your projects are just like completely nonprofit and not generating. Like I don't obviously do this podcast or even Herbal Marie. Like I did set up a Patreon account for Herbal Marie, and yeah, maybe 18, 19, 20 people now signed up. So I can almost say I make $1 a day. Another day, another almost dollar. So yeah, that doesn't really justify being able to purchase anything. That like is just a donation to put towards the internet, and that doesn't even cover that. So I know it's always really hard for me to be like, oh, I'd love like another deck, but we'll see, because that's not the only deck that I want. I would like the new one coming out from Druid's Garden, and I mean that one looks. She's not even done with that. She's gonna do like a what is that? Not a GoFundMe, but like Kickstarter. That's what it is. I think she'll probably do like a Kickstarter or something for hers. So, let's quit whining about things we don't have. Let's appreciate what we do have. Hey, at least it got me whining about something else in my life. All right. More joy. I'm supposed to tell you things that I appreciate every day, right? So I'm going to give these another shuffle, and I think we're just going to come at this saying, like, who we could call on any of them. So unless we get the alchemy card, there's an alchemy card in this deck. And if you pull the alchemy card, you're supposed to look at all the cards, shuffle through the deck, looking at all the cards, and just go with the one that jumps out at you or resonates or vibes the most. So there is a card in this deck that actually is like pick your own damn card. So it'll be funny if we get that, but because I wanted to say was which archetype would it benefit us the most to call on this weekend, or call on right now. We'll do another decree. We'll do another divine invocation, and which one would be best for us to benefit us, guide us, show us another lesson for us to learn, another energy pocket to clarify. Ooh, yeah, that's a good visualization. Thank you for that. Like looking at our life like energy pockets. You know, we've got some good pockets of joy energy here, some contentment pockets here, there. But sometimes we've got these pockets that are lower vibe. We've got a few pockets maybe of stress or tiredness or just lack of enthusiasm. So let's try to clean up some of these pockets of energy. Let's call on our guides, call on our angels, call on these high vibrational beings who can help clear some of the energy pockets that are slowing us down, bringing us down, or just basically need healed. Oh, you guys, we got Iris. Oh my gosh, that's so sweet. So let me put this over here. We got Iris. So we're going to call on, let's see who Iris is. Who is that though? I mean, is that just like an Iris fairy, or who do we got here? Okay, we've got the rainbow goddess. We've got Iris, the iris plants, and then the little lady in between. It shows the bulbs of the iris, and it's growing up, these two yellow irises, and then there is a violet iris above her, and she's holding like a bluish iris, and she's got a blue iris on her belt sash, and she is creating a rainbow out of her hands, and she's making these rainbows. So the archetype is the rainbow goddess. You guys, like, that never even occurred to me to call on the rainbow goddess. But apparently, and doesn't that make you happy? Like, it just kind of perked me up. Like, I thought we'd get something like, I don't know, I thought we'd get Kali Ma. That's who I thought I'd have to call on this weekend. Like, Kali Ma, like, come and slay, bitch, you know? But no, this is the rainbow goddess. In Greek mythology, Iris, queen of the gods, was the goddess of the rainbow and messenger of Hera, who traveled freely between the lower realms and the realm of the gods. Ultimately, her inspiration served the feminine, balancing the heart and head through an understanding of emotions and suffering. Out of this well of feeling and understanding arose the rainbow, symbolizing the multidimensional qualities of human consciousness. So there definitely is a suffering element. We've suffered long enough. You know what I mean? Like, enough already. Yeah, Iris is like, call on me. So let me grab my paper. We're going to call on Iris. Hold on, let me just get this ready. Let's just talk about Iris first, though. We often find it growing wild on the edge of a pond or stream. A lot of people plant irises, you know, in their yards, but they could just happen in, you know, in wet areas. The iris is a perennial herb with long, narrow, sword-shaped leaves. So, yeah, we do have a suffering element. The leaves are sword-shaped. That's hilarious. But it has long, narrow, sword-shaped leaves. It has rhizomes or bulb-like rootstocks. The beardless iris represented in this card flourishes if constantly covered with water in the early spring. Now, you can take a flower essence of iris, and the iris essence is extraordinarily beautiful and serves as a rainbow bridge between temporal and spiritual worlds, reminding us of our infinite creativity and divine origins, offering the expression of its ever-flowing form. It nourishes the human soul, unblocks old patterns of self-limitation, inspires one to the heights of beauty and grace, and restores a path to art and creativity. So those are beautiful, beautiful, beautiful intentions to make, connecting with the spirit world, being reminded, remembering our infinite creativity and our divine origins. Because that's what we want. We're going to call on the rainbow goddess to help us nourish our soul, unblock old patterns of self-limitation, and inspire us to just create some beauty this weekend. Have grace in our lives. And let's do it. Let's find a path. Let's get back to art and creativity if we have fallen away from it. And obviously I have. This week has been so distracting. Like, I'm really almost to the point where I'm getting annoyed with that, you know, especially like when I don't see my husband trying to feel better at all, or, you know, and it's like, all right, well then enough then, because I have stuff that I want to do, and it's like, I can't lower my vibration anymore to rendezvous. And so I'm gonna definitely, without further ado, let us call on the rainbow goddess now with the law to decree the right to divine invocation. So I'm gonna say it 3 times. And I think the fill in the blank, what we're going to ask for is, I ask for old patterns to be unblocked. Okay, because they were talking about self limitations and stuff. And, in our relationships, we have these patterns. So, I ask for old patterns to be unblocked so we can release them. All right. By divine decree, in the name of the Rainbow Goddess and under the law of grace, I ask for old patterns to be unblocked. It is done, and I thank you. By divine decree, in the name of the Rainbow Goddess and under the law of grace, I ask for old patterns to be unblocked. It is done, and I thank you. By divine decree, in the name of the Rainbow Goddess and under the law of grace, I ask for old patterns to be unblocked. It is done, and I thank you. And so it is. All right, so we've put it out there. We've called on the Rainbow Goddess. We should have a smile on our face because it's the freaking Rainbow Goddess. Such beautiful energy. And we've made intentions for our old patterns to be unblocked. That we might need to grab an iris leaf sword. Because we just unblocked it, so look out now. So we got another little healing message from Iris that I can read to you, and then she has a blessing to give back to us. We've called on her. She's going to help us, and then we're going to end with the blessing. And that's it. That's all we're going to do today. We're just going to have one card because, good Lord, what a freaking week. So yeah, then we'll all just have ourselves a pretty good, decent energy rerouting weekend. We're going to notice that these old patterns are becoming unblocked, and then Monday morning, let us show up with our shit together. Well, that's just me. All right, so the healing journey of the iris offers you a deeper vision of your flowering, intuitive, and feeling self. A vision in which you may encounter the many hues of your emotional spectrum, the root of your being, like the golden bulbs of the iris, will produce the wondrous color of your potential, much like a golden chalice produces the elixir of love. So it's like with hand over your heart, you must feel your feelings, and I can certainly vouch for myself. I definitely have this week, and that is where we will connect with our flowering, intuitive, feeling self. This emotional roller coaster has connected me in my heart space. And I appreciate that because that's where I want to live my life from. I want to come at my life all the time from my heart space, and not really worry about my head space so much, because it's good. My head is pretty good up there. I can leave it alone. I can feel from my heart space more, feel for the answers, feel for the way. That infuses love into everything that I do. Up in my head space, my ego takes charge. I start becoming judgmental. I worry. I plan. I get freaked out. I get pissed off. It's like, let's stay in our feelings, listening to the guidance of our emotions as much as we can. So it connects us with our flowering, intuitive, feeling self, a vision in which you may encounter the many hues of your emotional spectrum. And it is vast. And then, this is another message for us to stay rooted and grounded. And just like the golden bulbs of the iris. And the root of our being is what will produce the wondrous color of our potential. So be a golden chalice, okay? Produce the elixir of love. So here's the blessing for us. Queen of rainbow, iris bright, pour forth your creative rays of light. As we dance, as we sing, we rejoice in the waters of your eternal spring. So and as I look at this card, the rainbow goddess, she has blue all around her. That's actually a waterfall behind her. And she is dancing and creating rainbows and just sharing her creative rays of light. Literally pouring them forth. It's so amazing. So if we can just tap into that energy of the iris. See ourselves creating beautiful things. See ourselves having rainbow-colored light coming out of our hands, coming out of our hearts, filling our whole being, just clarifying our energy, unblocking old patterns of self-limitation, helping us become inspired, helping us raise our energy up into the heights of beauty and grace, keeping us on our path of creativity and expression and feeling and emotions and art and just anything that creates beauty in the world. So thank you, Iris. Thank you, Rainbow Goddess. And, give thanks to yourself right now with a little self-hug that, it's the power of your intentions too. Your asking and your allowance that's going to help create a space for this energy to flow. So is there anything else that you want to call on the Rainbow Goddess and the energy of Iris? Just remember to use the example, or format of the law or right to decree or divine invocation. You can call on any energy that inspires you or that you want to connect with. I'm going to put this Iris Rainbow Goddess card in my little holder. I'm going to keep her up all weekend so that I can look over there and remember that I have asked for her help to come and release old patterns, and I thank her because it is done. They are being worked on and released right now because I gave permission to the Rainbow Goddess to come in, and when I said under the law of grace, I made sure that only good energy was coming in because I gave her permission. We have moved out of the confines of the law of non-intervention because nobody can help you in the higher realms unless you ask them to come in. So if you need help and you just don't feel like anybody's helping you, did you ask yet? Because you gotta ask permission. You gotta tell them that they are allowed, and then you gotta hand it over and just know that it is being taken care of. So ask, hand it over, let it go, and know that it is done, and know that you are taken care of. So thank you so very much for hanging out. I can't believe we only pulled one card. I think that probably means that I'm burnt out a little bit. But I also think it just means that I just want one single thing to think about and focus on today and this weekend, and really start to get my energy channeled in a direct and focused way for sure. So I did ladies night last night. I think that I have rebelled and gotten enough out of me that now I can get back on track remember who the F I am, and start creating magic, beauty, and art and expression, artful expression in my reality. So much love to you. Have a beautiful weekend. Can't wait to see you Monday. Monday we're doing the law of discipline. All right, try to come back Monday. I love you. See you then.